Thank you, Speaker. My question is for the Premier. This week, I am sitting in Landlord-Tenant Board hearings that are deciding the fate of dozens of families in Beaches East York. Families that lost income to COVID, moms and dads working their tails off to pay rent and arrears, but who are being evicted by corporate landlords who don't care that they've used all their savings trying to keep a roof over their heads, who don't care that evicting them will push them into homelessness. These corporate landlords have refused to meaningfully negotiate with their tenants as they are required to do by law. Instead, they've tried to force the tenants to sign onerous repayment plans that the tenants can't afford and which amount to signing their own evictions if they're a day late or a dollar short. When is the Premier going to follow through on the promise he made way back last March that no one would be evicted in Ontario because of COVID?
The Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I don't know the details that the member is talking about in terms of her appearing in front of the board. I hope she clears it with the Integrity Commissioner, but that's between her and the Integrity Commissioner. Mr. Speaker, I do want to say that the Independent Landlord and Tenant Board, the independent tribunal system, has gone through unprecedented times, unprecedented challenges. Tenants and landlords need to have their hearings for whatever the issue is, Mr. Speaker, and we've worked very hard with the tribunals to make sure that they're properly resourced, that they can do the work that they independently need to do, Mr. Speaker. We need to make sure, Mr. Speaker, that we have hearing officers in place to hear the important matters that tenants bring forward and that landlords bring forward. It's really important that we have the system working efficiently, that it's functioning. They've transitioned amazingly to online and alternate ways of having hearings to keep it moving through these unprecedented times, Mr. Speaker.
And the supplementary question.
Thank you. And this isn't about the LTB board specifically. It's about the fact that we need a ban on evictions. Speaker, Zinat Jahan is a single mom. Her husband died of cancer in January last year, and 2 months later, she lost her job in the first wave of COVID. She got an eviction notice from Pinedale Properties, one of the biggest evictors in Toronto, after she missed just 1 month's rent. They wouldn't negotiate in any way that could be called meaningful. They tried to bully her just as corporate landlords are bullying tens of thousands of tenants across Ontario. Just yesterday, their lawyer argued at the LTB that the fact that we're in a pandemic should have no bearing on whether a tenant like Zinat should be evicted. Last March, the Premier promised no one would be evicted in a pandemic, but tens of thousands of families like Zinat's are on the verge of homelessness through no fault of their own. When is the Premier going to do his job and protect them?
The Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
Thanks, Speaker. Like the Attorney General, I'm not going to comment on any case that's before the tribunal. But I do want to reiterate some of the measures that our government have been able to do. I want to take members back to April of this year when our government made a historic program offering with the federal government. We were the first province or territory in Canada that signed on to the Canada-Ontario Housing Benefit. And Speaker, we've already been able to help over 7,000 of our most vulnerable stay housed through that portable housing benefit. This is in addition to the other measures that I talked about earlier in question period, the $510 million through our Social Services Relief Fund. In fact, we've allocated over $189 million to the City of Toronto through the SSRF, making the total homelessness allocation for the City of Toronto over $395 million. That's in addition to the rent freeze that our government has put forward for 2021. There are many, many measures that our government has provided and continue to provide. Again, to this member, as I've done to the other two, please stand with us.
Thank you very much.